All right, so let's look at an example on how we can use Xslt to convert XML into HTML. So for instance, what we're going to do is that we're going to take in an arbitrary document, XML document that contains data, and we want to represent it in any other way that we might use for human consumption. Right? One might be data that might be coming from a third-party API, right? That we are receiving data from some URL, some RESTful API, and they're providing just raw data. We can then convert that into some content that might be easier to consume for humans. Right? This is very, very common use cases. You know, there are tons of endpoints, data endpoints out there that provide data in all sorts of formats, either as JSON or XML, or raw text in tabular format, in CSV files. There's tons of these data points, right, or data sources that we can retrieve data. Now this data is usually just raw data, right, and it's not meant for human consumption. And oftentimes we need to convert it into other alternative representations because we need to display it as a report for someone to make sense out of the data, or we just want to be able to extract the pieces that we need so that we can aggregate the data and with other data sources, right, and group it, right, and then generate a resulting report. So let's do this really simple example where we can generate basically anything we want. But let's take a look at how we generate HTML. So let's see. So here's an input. Here's an XSLT file, right, that is going to convert or transform the same list of graduating students. It's gonna transform it into a tabular format, right? So for instance, it's gonna start by the same thing. It's gonna look at the look for the root graduating students, and this appears only once. It's only one graduating students, and what we're going to do when it matches that, we're going to generate the outer shell of the output document that we want. In our case, we're going to generate the outer HTML document, the body, and maybe also the a table that we're going to use to render the content in a tabular format, right? And then what we're going to do is that we're going to iterate then over all the students, and as we're iterating each student, we're going to add a brand new row to the table, right? So let's take a look at how we would go about doing that. So let's create here another package where we can work on that. New package. So we're going to generate HTML, and we're going to create a style sheet, and this is XML to HTML. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for an input file. The input file will be the same graduating students XML. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it here so we have it available for this example. And just to make it more interesting, we're going to add a couple more folks. So we have here student Alice. So let's copy that and let's add maybe one more student. So here's Bob. And Bob, in last year, he took 5,500. And he got an A+, and did 5,200 also last year, got an A-, and maybe also took cs5200 You got a minus. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to generate HTML. So you can say here what you're generating. So we're generating HTML, and we're going to match the graduating students. If we see that, we're going to generate an HTML document like that with a body, and this one will say maybe H1 graduating students. All right, so let's create an executable, Xslt, and we're going to call it XML to HTML, and we're going to run that Xslt file. I think it's this one. We're going to take as input that XML. We're going to generate, and maybe we'll open up with a browser since we're generating XML anyway, right? So we'll generate HTML. There we go. We'll say OK, apply, and then we can run it. If we run it, hopefully it'll generate the HTML document and we'll open up as graduating students. So that seems to be working. Let's go a little further. And instead of just HTML, we'll create a table. Oh, do we get a message somewhere? Somebody raise their hand? No? Okay. So down below, we'll create a table underneath. Here, below the H1. So there's a table that contains several headers with the name, graduation year, and the courses. And once we have that, we'll add a hard-coded table row, and under there, we'll then generate a we'll pattern match for all the students, right? And for each student, we'll generate a row. For now, let's comment that out. Let's run it, see what we get. There we have it. Sorry. So we have graduating students, and then the table, right, that has the headings. And let's keep adding to this. We'll add another template down below, right? That's going to pattern match the students. So let's do that. There it is. So for every student that pattern matches, we're going to generate a brand new row. All right, so we'll generate a brand new row. So let's copy that as a new template down below. For now, let's clean this up a little bit. For the first column, we'll say we're going to put the student name. For the second column, we'll put the graduation year. I'm just putting some hard-coded stuff so that just to show you. And here will be all the courses in table format. So if we run that, now since we have 3 students, right, we should have 3 rows. There we go. So we have 3 rows, and we would like to be able to generate the content for each one of these, right? So for the student name, we're going to grab the value of the, for within a student, we're going to grab the value of what? Let's see. The input XML, where are you? That's not it. No, this one. So for the student, we'd like to grab the name and the graduation year. So let's grab that. So in the Xslt, right, we're going to say grab XSL value of, and then select the S name, And for the graduation year, I believe it's called what? Grad year. So if we run that, there we have it. So we have Ian, we have Alice, and we have Bob, right, which each respective graduation year. Let's take a look at the courses. For the courses, what I like to be able to do is we're going to pattern match for all the courses inside each one of the students. So if you'll notice in the input XML, once we're in the students, we have courses. What we're going to do is that we want to iterate over all these courses, right? So what we could do is pattern match against student, courses, and course. So each course is going to trigger a rule that we can then use to generate, say, line items, right, for each one of the courses, right? So let's do that. For in the last column, right, we're going to pattern match a template for the courses inside of the current student. So here we're going to replace that. So we'll create a brand new template that matches courses. So this is another template. So this is a XSL template that matches courses. And for each one of the courses, we're going to generate an outer element that's going to generate a table. So instead of a table, how about we generate something new, like a list. So let's create for the template. Oh, we have that already. So we could create a UL, right? And in here, each line item is going to match, right? It's going to match. We'll create another template here that's going to be triggered for every course that you see inside of courses, inside of students, right? So we'll have this pattern matches XSL template. We're going to match the course, and for every one of those, we're going to generate a line item, and inside of that line item, we're going to grab the title of the course. So this will be XSL value of, and we have the title of the course. There we go. All right, so let's run that. There we have it. So we have courses. Oops. Looks like we have one too many TDs. Also, it didn't do some indentation, so let's indent it. So notice that it generates the content. Looks like we had one too many TDs here. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we didn't need this. Yeah, okay, so that would work, right? We know that that's going to generate the correct output. Okay, that makes sense? All right.